Content warning. This episode contains discussions of inappropriate relationships with teens and minors. His baby blues captivated the hearts of teen fans around the world in the 90s. Then, this babyface hunk traded his acting gigs for a guitar. Now, he's a full-blown rock star with an Oscar, known for his dedicated followers and allegations of favoring young fans. Is the band's refrain, "Yes, this is a cult," merely an inside joke as they claim? Or is it something sinister hiding in plain sight? This week's episode is 90s Heartthrobs or Cult Leaders, Part 2, Jared Leto, My So-Called Cult. Sinisterhood.
I've been riding the high of that joke since we recorded last week.
Yeah, when Paris was editing the video for the Andrew Keegan episode, he's like, "Do you want me to put this 10 things I hate about cults?" And I was like, "Yeah, we said it. We said that that's the name of them now.
We said it proudly, so now we have to own it." But
proudly.
I think they would be in favor of it because it's saying, like,
so
you guys didn't do it. Okay, yeah. We know.
I think Andrew Keegan listens to the episode we did about him, loves it. I think Jared Leto listens to the following episode. We're getting a cease and desist. He sends them out. He likes to send them out, and he's going to send them to us.
Sinisterhoodpodcast@gmail.com if you are Jared Leto or his attorney and you're listening to this. But I will say, we're only reporting what, to the best of our knowledge, is factual evidence that we have discovered.
Yes. I mean, everything. Hi, Jared Leto. You don't know me. My name's Heather. I'm a lawyer. So before we wrote this whole script, we have receipts for everything we're about to say. Don't make me spank you like the Lipstick Alley attorney spanked your attorney when you tried that cease and desist. That's all I'm going to say. I just wanted to say, don't make me spank.
Actual spank?
It was, we'll get to it when we get to it, but the response Jared Leto's attorneys received from them sending the cease and desist letter was so good and so embarrassing they didn't respond and didn't sue anyone. So it was an effective reply. But it was an effective reply because it was rooted in reality and the law, unlike Jared Leto's cease and desist, which was rooted in, I don't know, delusion, marshmallows, Mars. I don't know, where's he from? A Mars bar?
I think he's from Mars. Yeah. So, things are different up there. They got a different atmosphere, different rules,
different moon situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The whole, different, whole planetary alignment and whatnot. I don't know.
We can't know until we go. I don't know. Does Mars have a moon? Who cares? We don't talk about Mars's moon. We only care about our own moon.
Yeah, we only care about our moon.
30 seconds to moon.
We love it so much that we dedicated a whole show that we wrote and performed and toured around the country called Full Moon Energy. Our tour is currently in progress. We head out just next week for Cincinnati on July 16th, Cleveland on July 17th, and Toronto on July 19th. Very excited.
Much like Jared Leto and 30 Seconds to Mars, we're also on tour.
We are also on tour,
for $3,000, you can come on stage for the last joke. You have to pay $3,500.
If you want to Venmo us $3,000, you can come on stage for the last joke of the show, whatever that might be. And it's always different. So you don't know. It could be a great one. It could be a pretty good one.
Well, that joke will make sense after you all know more about 30 Seconds to Mars. But some jokes you don't need context for is what we talk about on Full Moon Energy, because we all live under the moon and you're going to laugh regardless if you've seen, if you've watched an episode of Sinisterhood on YouTube, listened on the podcast, if you've been to a live show before, it does not matter. It's an all new show and it's all about the beautiful and dark things that we love about the moon. So in addition to Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Toronto, we're coming to Kansas City, Oklahoma City, San Diego, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Dallas. So we're wrapping it up in Dallas on a full moon.
Yeah. For all details, including dates, times, venues, and more, visit sinisterhood.com/live shows. The show is so fun. It's educational. It's creepy. It's funny. It's thought-provoking. It's heartwarming. Really, I think we touch all the things.
Yes. And much like Jared Leto, if you don't stand for me during the show, I will point you out in the crowd and say, you there in the blue shirt, why aren't you standing? Stand for me. So you just need to be aware of that.
Yeah, you have to stand for an
I'm
hour
going
and
to
a half.
embarrass you. Regardless of what abilities you may have, what issues you may be going through, I don't care about that. I'm the star on stage. I'm the star, and you'll stand for me, just like Jared Leto says.
That's what you've got to do. Heather
Mama's
demands
precious
it.
baby is a star.
Don't try to sit down for even a second or you're going to get called out. Yeah, there's going to be a chair underneath you by a table with all your food and drinks.
Not after we're done. We're going to run from behind.
Them over?
We're going to run from behind you and pull the chairs out. We're going to yank them out. That's what Jared Leto has people do.
Oh, man. Well,
anyway,
he is on tour. So if that's your vibe, go see that show. If you'd rather chill and have fun and stuff, then you can come to our show.
Yeah, go to our website /live shows and see it there. But in the meantime, we've got to tell you all about this guy.
Yeah, well, we last left off with Andrew Keegan, and we decided not a cult leader.
No.
Just a fun-loving hippie guy that was trying to do some good.
Honestly, would like to hang out with him. And I don't know what the stuff in that cup was, but I'd try it.
You know what? I'll give it a sniff test and then I'll decide.
Done. That's all he asks. They don't make you drink it at Full Circle. It's like a completely open community. You do whatever you want. Is Jared Leto's cult the same? You tell us.
Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. If Andrew Keegan's so-called cult was nothing more than a charitable party pad, what about the allegations that my so-called life star, Jared Leto, runs a cult on an island in Croatia? Born December 26, 1971, in Bossier City, Louisiana, Jared Joseph Leto began his career in the entertainment industry as a model before later studying at Philadelphia's University of the Arts. He then transferred to the School of Visual Arts in New York City, where he majored in filmmaking. Leto's first breakout role came in 1994 when he was cast as bad boy Jordan Catalano in the teen drama My So-Called Life, starring alongside Claire Danes.
This was one of your faves, right? One season, but it doesn't matter.
It was a one and done. Yeah, and it's not one that we're going to reprieve. That's done. You know, the ship has sailed. We can't bring back that cast. One, they're all 30 years older. and he's got a lot of problems. Yeah. He's a pretty problematic figure now, which I look back at like shows he was on. I'm like, Claire Danes, was everything? But they were all the same age then. So
I know we have to like figure out the shift, and we'll get to my spreadsheet later on that I made. But I feel like there's a decided shift after he hits about 30. So he seemed like your average young actor guy, including. Did you know that his modeling photos were so embarrassing that he eradicated them from the internet, and I had to find them?
Oh,
it took me almost an hour and some change to find them. But
you know what? Sometimes you got to research, and this is what we mean when we say we're researching for the show.
There's
Let
one.
me pull it up right now. Stop it. This isn't real.
Yeah, it is. Look, here's another one.
No, it's not. This can't be real. These aren't real. These are fake.
They're so
Are
real.
these real?
100%.
This is AI.
No.
Did you make these?
I didn't make these. They're real. They're so real that in 2013, he bought the rights to these. Yeah, there's like saran wrap involved. It's bananas.
What?
It's so
I
weird.
don't think this was a traditional modeling shoot. This seems like it was for a specific demographic.
I'm not sure what it was, but there's another one.
Is that a calla lily?
Yeah, he's got like a flower up to his face. In one of them, he's got a little outfit on. A little fun vest. And most of these, he's shirtless. Yeah. This one is just kind of your usual Jared Leto. He's
wet hair in that one.
Wet hair and sexy. I think I might have sent them all. That's all of them.
What is with the saran wrap?
Yeah, one of the photos for our listeners, he's shirtless and he's got a piece of saran wrap. He's holding it over his shoulder and then stretching it like a sash across his body.
Yeah, like he's gonna cling wrap himself.
Yes, indeed. So
up.
And then the first one, of course, it's him shirtless with a calla lily. Who amongst us hasn't done that? And the next one he's got
and it's
vest.
not even blooming.
I'm now realizing that now that I found the vest picture of him wearing a red vest, blue pinstripes, that in the second Calla Lily picture, he's got a red vest, no shirt on.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. So earlier I read an article that in 2013 he bought the rights to some, quote, goofy modeling photos, which had to be these, certainly.
I think so.
Spent time getting them scrubbed from the internet by threatening legal action. There's a Huffington Post article from around 2010 to 2012 that's now blank. It says like Jared Leto's goofy modeling photos, and the whole article is now blank. And then a rock journalist, a music journalist named Razik Rauf, told an outlet called KQED that Leto sent him cease and desist letters after he decided, he goes, Leto was sending cease and desist to fans for reposting these. So this music journalist was like, oh, fuck that guy. I'll just post them myself. He posted them. Apparently Razik also got a cease and desist.
No.
And he said, while it was amusing, Leto is a very wealthy and powerful man with very wealthy and powerful people in his team. He's the 1%, and I cannot compete with that. So anyway, we're going to have to put these up for commentary purposes for fair use, because I'm commenting on how hilarious they are. We might include them into the YouTube video pending some calls to some attorneys.
If we post them on our Instagram, can he send us a cease and desist?
He probably would, honestly. We might get.
But if they're on the internet, it's fair use.
It's not real. No, it isn't. Like, unfortunately, like.
But he consented to these photos. It's not like somebody took these against his will. He looks like he's consenting in these photos.
He sure looks like he's enjoying that saran wrap.
He's making love to this calla lily.
Oh, yes. So. Yeah, he certainly. So then I found an Entertainment Tonight article with him, and he was talking about this music video, and the reporter goes, so I heard there's some modeling photos of you on the internet that you've been trying to get off the internet. And he just went, I don't know anything about that.
Oh,
like, bitch, yes, you do. Anyway, sorry to derail. You said modeling, and I was like, I got to take this time to send you these modeling pictures.
We're going to have to figure out a way to show these without getting sued.
What I can probably do is put it up in the background, and then we can do a green screen and talk about them for fair use, because you can use it for commentary. And anybody that wants to jump in on a fight against Jared Leto with us, just email us, especially if you're an attorney who specializes in intellectual property disputes.
I mean, I would want these gone from the internet if I had done this as well.
But
yeah, I don't know that I am so far up my ass that I would send cease and desist if people got a hold of them. Like, some things you just have to like laugh at yourself, be like, yeah, wasn't that a ridiculous thing I did? Because then you've got the Streisand effect where now everybody's going out and trying to search for these photos now.
I imagine if we all searched Jared Leto young modeling photos, Jared Leto Calla Lily shirtless, Jared Leto hair modeling, and like made it trending, he would have to respond to it, right? No? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and those are going to get you some results.
Certainly.
Because it's pretty niche. This modeling shoot was pretty niche. I think the way you've sent them, if you piece it together, the one where he's fully clothed is how it started. And then the one where he's wet is how it ended.
Yeah.
I think he took off layers, added some props, and at the end, he was just soaked. That's was a workout.
You got to lay down the saran wrap.
If you had said, do you want to see some Jared Leto modeling pics? Nothing could have prepared me for how ridiculous those were.
Because I had to do a Google search, because you can change the time on Google. So I was like, search everything from before 2013, because that's when he started like cease and desisting people, like sending the letter out. And I found it. And the way I just went, from the other room, that Paris went, is everything okay? And I said, yes, come in here. And he came in. I was like, and Jared Leto, and he wanted people not to see him. And anyway, this. And he goes, you were talking so fast, I don't have context for what you're showing me. And it was just a photo of shirtless Jared Leto with a Calla
You're like, you don't
Lily.
need context. Just look at this.
So we found him, baby.
Well, they're worth it. So everybody, it's in your hands now. If this gets trending or not. While the show had only one season, it was enough to solidify Leto as a teen heartthrob in the eyes of young girls around the globe. Indeed, fans were so enamored with Leto and his devilish good looks that he began receiving disturbing packages in the mail, including a severed human ear and a box of pubic hair. When the actor made People magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People list in both 1996 and 1997, Leto's heartthrob status soared to new heights. He made that into a necklace.
Yeah, he held it up and I was like, is this a real ear? Or it looked smaller. I couldn't tell if it was a bit or I don't know.
It's hard to know. Or somebody sent it and they said it was real, but it clearly wasn't. I don't know. The pubic hair, I don't think I've ever sent a celebrity anything, but that's on the list of the top 5 things I'm not sending.
I don't know why anyone would want that unless they specifically ask, like, hey, I know it sounds crazy. I'm making a shirt and I need pubic hair from a lot of people.
Crazy.
And then it's like,
and then you have to stop. If anybody said that to me, it'd be like, stop right there. I'm not contributing to this pubic hair shirt. So you can just stop hitting me up for it.
No, I don't want the pubes to get maybe some curious postal worker opens, says, oh, to Jared Leto. I wonder what's in here. And opens it up and goes, oh, I've just been waiting for these. And then my pubes end up in the hands of some kook that I don't even know. Meanwhile, Jared Leto is just sad and has no pubes of mine.
He's
so
zero
sad.
pubes.
Yeah, he's sad.
Yeah, I feel like he's one, though, that if I learned he had a collection of boxes of pubic hair from fans, I'd be like, that tracks.
Yeah, he just leaves. He has like an armoire, and he's like, do you want to see what's in the guest armoire?
Over the next decade, Leto starred in major films like Fight Club, American Psycho, and Requiem for a Dream. Known for his method acting, Leto reportedly lived on the streets of New York City and abstained from sex with his then-fiancée Cameron Diaz to prepare for his gritty role in Requiem as a person struggling with heroin addiction. 7 years later, in 2007, he once again demonstrated the lengths he would go to in order to prepare for his roles when he gained 60 pounds for his role as Mark David Chapman, the man who assassinated John Lennon, in the film Chapter 27.
Everybody famously quotes Laurence Olivier when people talk about method acting, that Dustin Hoffman's like, I stayed up 72 hours to film some Marathon Man scene. Mm-hmm. And Laurence Olivier is like, my dear boy, why don't you try acting? Because Dustin Hoffman's like, I'm so tired. I've been up 72 hours, just like my character. And Laurence Olivier is like, you would never catch a bitch doing that. I was sleeping.
No, you got to get your sleep in order to act how tired you are. I forgot that he was engaged to Cameron Diaz. Isn't it crazy? Like, if so much has happened since that time that, like, who even remember? Do they even remember they were engaged to each other? You know what I mean? Like, that seems like a lifetime ago. I do remember Requiem, and that was like the movie of all, when I was at UNT, like, of all the film nerds, of like, you've got to watch Requiem, because then they deleted out like 20 seconds from one of the release copies that, yes, we rented at Blockbuster.
Had to. Did you buy a Taco Bell meal, medium drinks, you get the Blockbuster 2-for-1 deal?
It for free?
Man.
I don't know. But the Blockbuster where I was trying to rent it from, the guy he clearly was like a film nerd. He was like, I'm just going to tell you right now that this one doesn't have the 20 seconds of deleted footage. And I was like, is it worth it? And he was like, it makes the whole film. And then I was like, well, shit, now I got to find that. And I'm pretty sure what was deleted was Jennifer Connelly getting railed with an adult toy in a scene where men are just throwing money at her because she is doing this for money to support her drug habit.
That is what made the whole film, is according to the gentleman that worked at the now assumingly now closed Blockbuster. I do remember that movie being popular with film nerds of mine in high school. My film nerds, the film nerds I hung out with in high school. We used to play this game. I can't, it's embarrassing, but they were really obsessed with this movie. And I remember distinctly it had to do with she did Full Frontal and they liked that scene. So I guess by the time we were watching it in like 2000, I don't know, when did it come out? Late 90s?
2000.
Okay, so this would have been like 4 or 5 years after that, 3 or 4 years after that, to where it was like on DVD and it's like, you got to get the deleted scene one. Oh, I don't know that it made the whole movie, but I remember it was legendary and that's sad for her. That she acted a whole movie and you guys are real focused on the push.
Yeah. Was gritty movie. I a lot of parts of that. The what was her name? The one with the fridge. She had the whole battle going on with the fridge that was talking to her and was.
I have not seen it.
You haven't seen Requiem?
No.
You just said you did see it.
No, I said all of my film nerd friends in high school were like all into it.
Oh, but you didn't watch it.
I was a train spotting kid.
Arguably not better.
Nope.
Just different. Train spotting does have the some very upsetting scenes in it, I remember.
To say the least. Yeah.
So that wasn't in Requiem. There was none of that, but there was a lot of drug use. But what is the actor's name? She was fantastic. Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. She's.
I don't know. I think it's one of those where I've seen clips, like on YouTube, like analysis clips or whatever, but I don't recall ever like sitting down and sitting through the whole thing. But she's good.
I haven't watched it in years, maybe over a decade. So it'd be interesting to see what I think of it now. But I remember it being very like gritty at the time and dealt with subject matters that in a way that was like more realistic than other people, like the dark side of heroin use and the links that people would go to. But it left an impression clearly on both of us for different reasons.
Right. Sinisterhood will be right back. Oh, it's very hot where we're at, where we're going everywhere. Been wearing shorts all the time, showing off my legs, which means I like them smooth. I like them feeling
silky
slick.
Smooth.
And we're talking about Athena Club's award-winning TikTok viral razor kit, which is worth the hype, but you got to try it to believe it. It is incredible.
It's got five patented blades. They glide across your skin effortlessly to leave you with the smoothest skin after just one swipe. I have 3 of these razors now, and for real, they are the best razor. I haven't used a non-Athena Club razor maybe since 2018, 2019, whenever they became a sponsor. I mean, it's been years since I've let another razor touch these stems. And I'm not they don't get to just go to anybody.
Well, you're right to do that. I made the mistake of one time using a drugstore razor when we were on tour, and never again. I've bought a specific travel Athena Club razor because I'm not trying to get ingrown hairs. The Athena Club blades are surrounded by the super moisturizing water-activated serum with hyaluronic acid and avocado oil that hydrates as you shave. Plus, it has the built-in skin guards to prevent that razor burn and reduce irritation, which I was getting very irritated with that drugstore razor.
Irritated with irritation? Mm-hmm. It's also dermatologist approved and made for sensitive skin. In fact, Athena Club was voted the best razor for sensitive skin by Vogue. And as people with sensitive skin, both of us, we concur. Vogue, we said it before, we'll say it again. Vogue knows what they're talking about. The Athena Club Razor Kit is an absolute steal at just $10. It comes with a beautifully made ergonomic handle and 2 super sharp razor heads that deliver an incredibly smooth shave every time. You also get a game-changing magnetic hook in the razor kit for easy storage. You just suction it right to the side of your shower and clock it on there. It's great for keeping it off where it gets all gooey or little hands can reach it. It's maybe my favorite part of the whole kit.
It's fantastic. And so if you are ready to upgrade your shaving experience, switch to the best razor on the market and show your skin you care with Athena Club. Head over to athenaclub.com to get their already affordable razor kit for 30% off with code CREEPY at checkout.
You can also find Athena Club razors at your local Target store. Trust us, you won't look back. Happy shaving.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
After a 6-year acting hiatus, Leto returned to the screen in 2013 as Rayon in the film Dallas Buyers Club. Playing a transgender woman struggling with addiction and HIV, Leto lost 30 pounds for the critically acclaimed role. Leto would also win his first Academy Award for the role, taking home Best Supporting Actor in 2014. Despite being a straight man cast as a trans woman, Leto neglected to thank the trans community during his acceptance speech.
He also faced a little bit of backlash because he would never outright say, like, in the interviews I saw and then in think pieces criticizing him at the time. Obviously, I can't have watched every single Jared Leto interview, but he would choose to use the phrase, the rayons of the world,
Oh,
And,
interesting.
And then also in the Golden Globes acceptance speech, he's like, I had to get a Brazilian for this. It was crazy. And he's like laughing. And I'm like, you're playing a trans woman who underwent untold horrors. It's really a composite character, but still it stands that this is a person's life. And he's just like, LOL. And Bradley Cooper, they cut to Bradley Cooper and he is not laughing at that speech. He is just kind of like plainly looking. And Salon was like, wrote at the time, like he sort of treated it like it was like lighthearted drag.
No, that movie, also a great film. Matthew McConaughey is so good in it, as was Jared Leto. I mean, despite all of his transgressions and his wrongdoings, he's not a bad actor. And it was also a film that like broke down a lot of walls at the time. But I think if it was cast today, it would be cast differently, I hope. And at the very least, the person, if they were a straight man cast as a trans woman, would give outright credit to the trans community and thank them during the speech. It was very myopic that it's like, what, did you forget what you were doing? Like,
Yeah.
2014 was even though it was just 10 years ago, it was a different time.
Yeah, I'd like to think we've made strides. If anybody has not watched the documentary Disclosure, it's on Netflix, but it is about the portrayal of trans people in the media, and it just like opened my eyes. So many things I never would have thought about, but it definitely made me look at especially his acceptance speech and the media around it kind of differently, kind of going, well, maybe that wasn't not the right thing to joke about.
No, not at all. 2 years later, Leto achieved another career milestone when he landed the coveted role of the Joker in DC's Suicide Squad. While Leto's role did not receive the praise he had hoped, it wasn't for lack of trying to immerse himself in the dark and disturbing mind of Gotham's painted-faced villain. While preparing for the role, Leto received criticism for his extreme method acting that included not breaking character and sending gross gifts from his comic book persona. He sent co-star Margot Robbie a live rat. He also sent used anal beads and used condoms to other co-stars, which he and the cast confirmed in an interview with E! News. Leto explained the outrageous gifts, saying,
I did a lot of things to create a dynamic, to create an element of surprise, of spontaneity, and to really break down any kind of walls that may be there. The Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries.
According to co-star Viola Davis, Leto really escalated things when he got the entire cast a dead pig. She told Vanity Fair,
Now I'm terrified as a person thinking, is he crazy? But the second part was, oh shit, I gotta have my stuff together.
When public backlash ensued, accusing Leto of creating an inappropriate work environment by sending such disgusting gifts, he was unrepentant, telling People magazine at the time,
I should just never talk about it because I'm not doing it to talk about it. I'm doing it for me. One basic response I have is, I'll work the way I want to work. You work the way you want to work. You don't like it? You can kiss my ass.
ooh.
Okay.
First of all, I like your Jared Leto pose.
I have to sit a certain way. I'm like,
to get into
hey guys,
character here.
I'm almost sitting like Sir Garthur Brooks behind me. Hey, so I'm Jared Leto. He wishes he was as ripped as Sir Garthur. But come on, this is a bridge too far. If you mail me a used condom, and I know where your trailer is, I'm going to take a dump on the steps of your trailer. I don't care what character you're in. That's so rude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. The Joker might not respect things like personal space or boundaries, but I expect the fellow actors that I'm on a set with to respect those things, or we're going to have some problems.
You want to be like, hi, baby, little Jared Leto. You're from Bossier, Louisiana. You're a real person. The Joker is a fake person in a comic book. Also, why don't you call up, I don't know, Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale? Did Heath Ledger send people anal beads and use condoms? No, and he fucking crushed as the Joker. He's the best Joker up there. Jack Nicholson? I don't know, maybe. People argue.
Heath Ledger did, though, stay in character quite a bit. I think this role is known for like really taking people to a dark place, but weren't they filming it in Chicago?
When I was there, yeah.
Yeah, my brother lived there at the time too. And he said he would go, not my brother, Heath Ledger, go like to restaurants like after filming and stuff, still wearing like full makeup. And
hell yeah.
Yeah. And you're just like, What do you order as the Joker?
I don't know. Keep your head down. I do. Speaking of going to restaurants, I remember when I worked at Magic Time Machine, a colleague of mine at Magic Time Machine also served at Grand Lux Cafe at Galleria Mall. And when he was in town for his music, which we're about to get to, Jared Leto came and ate at Grand Lux, and he required them to put up a bunch of menus as like a partition so people wouldn't see him. Yeah.
Oh, man. I have always thought that place looks so fancy, but I know it's not because of its location. And that location is connected to the mall and like, right by the highway.
Yes. And it's you walk out one door and walk into the American Girl store, which maybe explains why he was there. I don't know. TBD. TBD.
Oh, man. Oh, are you saying Jared Leto's sex dolls are American Girl dolls because he likes them so young?
I was just thinking if you look at the average age of the people he's dated, it's late teens.
Yeah.
They might still be into American Girls. At least they're wanting to hang out at the mall.
Yeah.
So at least I did when I was that age.
Yeah, I went to the mall when I was a teen all the time.
Oh, man. Well,
I'm glad that he got his privacy at the Grand Lux Cafe.
Yes. You have to. It's a celebrity hotspot.
Mm-hmm. In addition to acting, Leto has been the frontman of the alt-rock band 30 Seconds to Mars since 1998, alongside his brother Shannon, who plays drums and percussion. With the release of their album A Beautiful Lie in 2005, the band skyrocketed to fame, amassing a devoted fan base that called themselves the Echelon.
I have to apologize as well. Paris came in as he was editing the video version of the Keegan episode, and he goes, "You've never heard Bury Me by 30 Seconds to Mars?" And I was like, no, I don't know that song. And then I clicked it, and I was like, I've heard this song. I didn't know it was 30 Seconds to Mars, and I always turn it off.
That's the one that I said I actually...
You're like, you actually liked, but I was like...
I mean, now looking back at it, also the video is it gave me secondhand embarrassment. But at the time, I remember really liking it. But yeah, it's a song. Yeah. It got a ton of radio play. So
bury me. If you don't know, that's
heard it. Yeah. I earlier was trying to get Tommy I was trying to figure out the name of a song, and all I could remember was one part, and he was able to tell me what it was.
Name that tune.
The song I was trying to sing was Blurry by Puddle of Mud.
Okay. As one does.
Why this popped into my head, I don't know. But all I kept going was, can you da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then,
can you slam it in my face? Is that the one? There it is. There it is. We have to mute it or we're going to get copyright struck.
But through that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 things down on Spotify. If you just search for Blurry, there's a playlist somebody made called Divorced Dad Rock.
Fuck yeah.
And just for shits and giggles, what do you think the first 3 songs are?
Is it, what's that one song, Behind Blue Eyes? What's that?
Behind These Hazel Eyes by Kelly Clarkson?
No. It's like Aaron, what's his name? He's a rock and roller. He's bald-headed. His name's Aaron.
He was on American Idol.
Nope, he's a rock and roller.
Yeah, but he got started on American Idol. Yeah, he didn't win, though, I don't think. Maybe he did. That's where he first got started. The one I'm thinking of. Chris, his name is Chris, though. I'm thinking of Chris somebody.
Stained.
Yes, you're in the... Yes, goddamn. The very first song is a Stained song, and I'm not kidding.
Who's Aaron Lewis is from Stained.
Okay, well, the very first song American on this playlist is from Stained. So you're nailing it so far.
It seemed like it seemed like that's like sad dad songs, which I'm fine with.
That's the very first one.
To clarify, Aaron Lewis was not on American Idol. I don't want to get
No, I'm thinking of...
I know who you're talking about.
Chris Daughtry is who I'm thinking of, who probably at some point on this playlist shows up too.
Yes, Stained was my number one guess.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
What do you think the second song is?
Oh, is there any 311 on it? That might be too hard and less sad.
Not that I'm singing. I will say the second song, it steps it up in terms of if the first one is like, man, I'm really going through some stuff, then the second one is like, fuck this. I'm living my life for me now. I'm back out now, baby.
Oh no. Well, my first inclination, and it isn't this, but it should be Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit.
Oh, that's a good one. You're
one
in
of
the
these
same,
days.
I feel like it's the same kind of genre. It
Hit me
is
with it. What is it?
Dragula by Rob Zombie.
Yes. We need to add that song.
Slaps.
Fucking add that song to the pre-show playlist for Full Moon Energy because it's Dracula, kind of. Like, it's vampire related. We're fucking adding Dracula, bitch.
And then I don't know the third song, and now we can't play them anymore. 3 Days Grace, Just Like You.
3 Days Grace was the thing that a lot of real emotional but rocker-ish young men in my high school liked. So it seems like it stands to reason that now that they've gotten older and
divorced, and now they like it still. Yeah. So that's Break Stuff, Limp Bizkit.
Fuck yes.
Like 8 down. You're right.
You got to be in the right mood for it. You can't just start off with Break Stuff. You got to get there. You'll get there as you process.
If I heard divorce dad rock, you and Tommy knew immediately. This wasn't the way I was gonna go, but y'all immediately knew the vibe. So I didn't realize
it's been a while.
The description of this, which was made by someone named Colin Frost.
What's up, Colin? You're going through it, buddy.
She took it all, but she didn't take my New Balances.
Okay, Colin.
And look at the
hell yeah. He's got some fucking jean shorts on.
Yeah, he's grilling out with his jean shorts, tucked in polo with the braided belt. And honestly, this look is like hip again, which we didn't need those to come back. We didn't need the long denim shorts to come back, but they certainly did.
You can't deny them. They're classic.
That same year, troubling allegations surrounding Leto began to surface. In 2005, the New York Post ran an article titled, "Hey Leto Girl, Jared shows he's a teen play," which began with the line,
"Jared Leto likes him young."
The article detailed allegations that Leto had
aggressively pursued
teen models staying at the same posh hotel in New York's meatpacking district as Leto and his band, who were playing a gig in town. Any article that starts with Jared Leto or anybody likes him young is something that's immediately going to send up a red flag for me.
I think it's fascinating as we're going through this in 2024, looking back to 2005, that these were sort of like allegations swimming around, but this was not a career-ending thing. It's interesting that we're seeing in 2024 that you have Not Like Us, where there is an entire song and accompanying music video dedicated to calling out Drake's alleged predilection for young women, and that has become sort of, I won't say career ending, but he's certainly seen, I think, a decline in popularity. And to have entire swaths of like young people at prom or dances or birthday parties yelling, like trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor, like, yo, Drake, I heard you like him young. You better never got to sell Black One. Like having that being part of the cultural zeitgeist of calling out older men who prey on younger women is shocking. That I'm like, oh my God, we're saying something. Cause when I was 18 in high school, this was like, oh, that's cool. And it's like, well, he's 30. So
yeah, no, everybody would have been singing the line, but just because it was a fun line to sing, not really thinking about what is this really saying? What does this really mean? Normally a rock star hooking up with models is not headline worthy. But the fact that Leto was 33 at the time and the models were between the ages of 16 to 19 turned heads. The Post quoted a source who said,
"Girls from IMG, Elite, Next, and women's modeling agencies are staying there, and Jared has been hitting on all of them. He's a serial texter. He's constantly texting these 16 and 17-year-old girls. It's really kind of creepy."
Yeah, that is really kind of creepy.
And also one of the other sources quoted said, and he was trying to ask one of the models to go upstairs with them while her modeling, I guess they have like chaperones, was there. And the chaperone was just like, no.
Probably to protect them. So from situations just like that.
Yikes.
To even ask for a 16-year-old's phone number as a 33-year-old man is so gross and yikes. And then to repeatedly text them, aggressively pursue them, no.
It's giving James Franco allegations.
The allegations that Leto likes much younger women resurfaced in May of 2018 when Sweet Life of Zack and Cody star Dylan Sprouse tagged the Oscar winner and tweeted,
"Yo, at Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model age 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?"
James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, added in a now deleted reply,
"He starts at 18 on the internet?"
Sprouse did not provide further context to why he was tweeting at that time. Gunn notably did not bring Leto back to reprise his role as the Joker in the second Suicide Squad film. As for the tweets, Leto did not reply.
It was wild out of nowhere. Zack and Cody is just like, by the way, Jared Leto. So it makes one wonder what Dylan Sprouse has heard that made him say that.
What led up to that? Yeah, anytime out of seemingly nowhere something like that gets dropped, you're like, what was going on behind the scenes? Who did Sprouse hear from, or who was he friends with that he was like, oh, he fucked with you? Well, now I'm taken to Twitter. And then when the director of the movie you just starred in is also chiming in saying on the internet, he starts at 18. That's where we can see where he's starting. That's what that implied to me. He starts at 18 on the internet.
It's younger elsewhere.
Younger
in real
if
life.
You're in person. Yeah.
That's definitely the implication. James Gunn is a bit of a loose tweeter. He got in trouble because he had tweeted like he was tweeting stuff like this, like sort of text unbecoming of a professional Marvel level director, kind of loose, but he never said like, I didn't mean that. I truly apologize. At least insofar as I saw, I think he was like, I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said and then I deleted it, but Leto did not reply, but he saw them.
I imagine, especially he saw the headlines, like People magazine was like, Dylan Sprouse tweets out Jared Leto is hitting on young girls. But it's crazy to me that there would be these headlines and then they would like go away. Yeah. Like you see these allegations and they go away and then, well, he's cast in something else, or there's a new 30 Seconds to Mars, or Morbius came out, or whatever. It's like, well, okay, well, we'll just ignore that then.
Yeah. A couple people would like Gunn, but I always think it's kind of like cockroaches. When you hear about one incident, there's 20 others that happen that haven't come to light. So when it gets to where other people in the industry, you're known for this behavior, it tells me you're not ashamed of it, at least not enough to hide it, or at least you're like 18 on the internet because that's legal, but you get to know them or you're at parties with them and you see other stuff going on. But I would think someone would be mortified for that information to be leaked about them, or that's like the reputation they have, but it never seemed to really faze him.
No, it seems like he's just at every turn, it's like, whatever team is managing him, it's like, well, we just need to cut off the oxygen of the fire, stop the fire from spreading, ignore it, move on to something else, distract them with something else, which I think, honestly, his really strange behavior might have a factor in that. Like, if you're dressing strangely at an event, people are not talking about these tweets from Dylan Sprouse. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by our sponsor today, Fume.
Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that satisfies your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapors, or combustion. Fume fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. Fume is not a vape because there's no vapor. You can use it anywhere. It uses no batteries, no nicotine, no toxic chemicals.
Fume is a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit.
And when you take a suck of that flavored air, it's such a delightful flavor. It tastes good. It doesn't feel like it's going to take up too much room in your purse or on your desk, in your pocket. It fits right down in your pocket. It's actually really fun to fidget with as well.
Mhm.
And when it is sitting out on your desk, it's a beautiful piece. It's like well designed. It's real wood that it looks like a nice piece, and no one's going to ask like, what is that? But then they're going to see you loving it and be like, hey, what is that?
Get that sample pack of all the different flavors, the white cranberry. One of my personal faves. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use our code CREEPY to get a free gift with your journey pack. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use code CREEPY to get a free gift with your order today.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
In 2013, Leto's band held a contest in connection with their new album. Entrants were to use a competition form on the band's site, which read,
Pre-order your copy of Love, Lust, Faith, and Dreams for a chance to be one of 5 winners who will receive an exclusive invitation to the lab for a magical night we're calling the Sleepover. Still want more? One of the 5 winners will spend the night at Jared's house in Jared's very own bed.
According to an online blog from one of the winners, the sleepover involved pizza, air mattresses on the floor of his house, watching the band's performance on Jimmy Kimmel, a botched viewing of The Shining, and a brief appearance from Leto before the fans were ushered away in cabs at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, it's one of those where, from what you could tell from people that won this, it was kind of like a borderline afterthought. Like they were brought into the lab, the studio, to like see the recording, which is cool. And then it was like, yeah, the DVD player doesn't work or whatever. And it's like, well, I guess we're not going to watch the movie. I guess we can just all
in
go to
Jared
sleep.
Leto's mansion. We can't get a DVD player to work, and we're having to
chaos.
sleep on air mattresses.
It was chaotic. Yeah.
And then he shows up at 6:30, which I imagine is probably just when he left the club. And he's like, I guess I'll stop by my house.
Yes, he did. Sorry, to clarify, they were just ushered away at 6:30. He was there in the evening, later in the evening, and was like, I have something really early in the morning. I can't stay.
And he left. Oh, man. Yeah. This is kind of the first foray into this weird, and maybe it's not weird. Maybe I just think it's weird. Like, connection with fans that they start to try and promote and tout of like, you can have an experience with us like nobody else can, which I guess if you're a huge fan, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it feels a bit pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, to like, what are you trying to pre-sell your album so much that you're willing to offer people a chance to sleep in your house?
Yeah.
It does go like beyond like, I don't think, I'm trying to think of like Bono from U2 is like trying to have sleepovers at his house. Like they just release an album, people come see their shows, they see them, whatever. They're not like, do you want to sleep with the Edge?
Yeah.
People are like, not really.
I mean, I'm not going to turn it down to sleep in the Edge's bed, but
yeah, it's probably nice.
I don't need the Edge there, but I think I'd be cool. It'd be cool to
I'm
see
just
where
going
he
to
lives.
edge in the Edge's bed. I'm just edging in the Edge's bed.
It seems like something you would do if you're just getting out there and you're trying to create a name for yourself. I feel like the caliber of band that they were trying to be and were considered, that this is below them.
Well, I think what it is so he came out with this band in 1998. It really started taking off more like in 2005. But between 98 and 2005, my reading of old reviews of them was just like music critics were like, this guy's a fucking joke. The lyrics are a joke. His voice is like fine. He's a fine singer, but like the music mixed with the lyrics, this isn't like serious music. It's a vanity project. And he was extremely pissed about that because it was sort of coming off. Russell Crowe had 30 odd foot of grunts. I know this because a girl I was friends with in high school is like loved Russell Crowe and unironically loved his band.
Were they good?
They were bad. I mean, I wouldn't be like, this is my favorite band, absent being like a big Russell Crowe fan. Yeah. But like Keanu Reeves like played bass in a band. Like you had all these sort of celebrities that like had Johnny Depp had his foray. They all sort of have like forays into like possible music. But I think Jared Leto thought, I'm going to be totally serious and you better fucking take this seriously. to the point we talked about earlier, he apparently busted Frodo in 2003.
He tried to roll up on Frodo.
This man, but like at the time in 2003, Elijah Wood said to like Blender magazine, like, I'm not going to try to be like other actors and try to make music. I mean, have you heard 30 Seconds to Mars? Fucking awful, man.
Ouch. That's a rough quote.
So Elijah Wood said that in 2003, 4 entire years later, an entire presidential term of office. In 2007, Jared Leto sees Elijah Wood and came up to him and was like, fuck you for what you said about my band 4 years ago.
That's
and
so
Elijah Wood's like, apparently Elijah Wood was like, what just happened to the people next to him? He goes, I was kind of shell-shocked. And I said, whoa, I think I just got told off by Jared Leto for not liking his band. And Jared Leto thought Elijah Wood was laughing at him and came back and grabbed him.
Can't do that, man.
You cannot get a hold of Frodo.
You can't grab Frodo.
Samwise about to come up from behind you like, be like, Sean Astin stabbed Jared Leto. Okay. Jared Leto grabbed a hold of Elijah Wood and we didn't know they were really that close in real life. And Sean Astin came from around a corner and choked him out.
You can't go against the Brotherhood of the Rings ever.
To unite them all.
It's so embarrassing to hold on to a grudge like that for 4 years, to remember that. That's what I mean. It's all like real green, like just cringy behavior that you would see from, honestly, it's giving JoJo Siwa. And you heard my rant about her the other night. And honestly, I told Tommy, I just walked into the room the other night and I said, in a couple years, we're going to hear some stuff about JoJo Siwa, and everyone's going to be like, okay, that all makes sense.
Going through.
I mean, she was a child star. Like, she basically still is a child. But anyways, I digress. But where you almost become kind of like a joke when you're trying to be so serious, but you're just doing too much instead of just focusing on putting out good content, good songs, whatever.
Yeah. And like the idea that you're like, you said something about me in an interview 4 years ago. Not like you said it to my face and that was rude and I don't like to see you. But it's like, oh, I saw your Blender article. Like, what are you even talking about?
You're like, you read Blender, Jared Leto? What are you doing?
Jared Leto's like, ooh, an interview with Elijah Wood. I'm such a fan. And then he's reading and he's like, ouch.
Yeah, that hurt him. That stung.
But you're right. It's a conduct unbecoming of like the caliber of star he should be. And I think that's why he gives cringe.
Also in 2013, the band began using the phrase,
yes, this is a cult,
in their music videos and social media. It first appeared in the video for the song Closer to the Edge. Leto told New York Times Magazine at the time,
it's a joke. A responded journalist saying, you have such a cult following. We've always had incredibly committed people following us. If people like 30 Seconds to Mars, they really, really, really like it.
And if they don't, they give a quote in Blender magazine and I'll come up and I'll grab you by the throat at a celebrity event.
You,
I don't give a shit.
I
don't
throw
care
you
if it's
into
the
Mordor.
Oscars, I'm going to confront you.
Yes. He's just shaking Elijah Wood. I can't even stop imagining it. But this is where we see him encouraging the fans and in saying we are a cult. He also uses the hashtag you wouldn't understand. And he says that. And he'll be like, if people don't like the band, just you wouldn't understand, which isn't like a way to get people to join into a thing and then be like, well, if your friends and family tell you, they wouldn't understand.
Yeah. No, it's the us versus them type of mentality. Capitalizing on their cult-like following, the band took the idea of a coveted sleepover to the next level with the introduction of Camp Mars. Originally formed in 2015, Camp Mars was touted as a way for like-minded adults, aka fans of the band, to gather for a kid-free weekend in Malibu, California, as they unplugged from technology and rejuvenated themselves amongst the beautiful scenery. Most importantly, though, Camp Mars afforded attendees the opportunity to hang out with the members of 30 Seconds to Mars. From a couple $100s to a couple thousand, depending on the package, fans were treated to nightly concerts under the stars, called Church of Mars. During the day, typical summer camp activities were available, including archery, swimming, hiking, and s'mores. It was common for Leto and his fellow band members to drive around the campgrounds in golf carts, chatting and socializing with fans. Still, it was clear that for those that wanted more individualized time or a selfie with the band, it would cost extra. Journalist Jennifer Enoch attended Camp Mars in 2017 during its earlier days. Even then, she said the camp was expensive, with some fans spending over $1,000 to have the opportunity to meet the band and snag a pic. Similarly, Enoch wrote in her piece for Geeks that there was a feeling amongst attendees of,
I paid for this. I better do what I can to be seen by them. Yeah.
I've watched a lot of videos from people back then and read some stuff. And I think if you're a huge fan of the band, what an opportunity. For me, as an outsider who is not a fan of the band, I was neutral on them, and now I would probably say I'm not, because he is not somebody I want to support. But it really is like an adult summer camp. I mean, people are like milling about, shooting bows and arrows. At one point, Leto and his brother Shannon are, when they put like a tightrope between two trees and then try to walk on it? Mm-hmm. Like they're doing that. Mm-hmm. It's just like, but why?
Yeah.
And then the answer is, because somebody paid $1,700 to be here. That's why.
Yeah.
When you add up all the money, I mean, in 2015, there was 550 overnight passes that were allotted, and they all sold. So, I mean, do the math. Then a limited number of single entry passes. It was between 18 to $2,000. You could get a cooking class with Tomo, the guitarist, which apparently has not been in the band for some time. And that was a whole dramatic thing. The only two people that have ever been in the band throughout are Jared and his brother Shannon.
Yes.
Everyone else has come and gone.
If you look them up on Spotify right now, they're just staring at the camera, and Jared's got an owl on his hand. Which, my question is, what's up with Drake being into owls and Jared Leto being into owls? Right in. Conspiracy theory. Some weird.
Interesting. Yeah, it's, I would definitely feel a type of way if I was another member of the band, but everything seemed to be Jared and Shannon.
Yeah.
Blood
you are replaceable.
Thicker than water, and I don't think they're going anywhere. Yeah, but you could do a cooking class with a guitarist or coffee with Shannon. And I'm just like trying to imagine sitting around where like Shannon's on stage drinking coffee, just talking, and everyone's in the audience, and it just gives me secondhand embarrassment. I don't like awkward things like this.
Yeah, my thing is the exclusive VIP activity with Jared for like $6,500. And I think he got backlash because in 2013 he had that seemed to be kind of a outbreak year for him, but I believe that's the year he created this documentary about the band was having a fight with their record label over what they alleged was an unfair contract, and they were trying to get out. The record label said they breached, yada yada. They created a documentary kind of tracking what the band was going through at this time. And in a Rolling Stone article at the time, Jared Leto was like, "I'm anti-greed. I'm here for creativity and for the music. I'm anti-greed." And people have pointed that of like, on the one hand, yes, certainly you are artistic, but you are at every point finding how much more are people willing to pay. And that's just the question. It's like, that's a market, if he says for $6,500, you get a quote VIP activity with Jared and somebody wants to pay it, I guess his argument's I'm not being greedy and I'm just taking it. Taking the money. I don't know.
I'm doing a service to this fan because they're getting my time. The people that put it on is Adventures in Wonderland. It's like a full service experience company that creates these types of experiences for different artists to have with their fans. So, I mean, they're a whole company that does this, but I don't know.
And I've seen that the Backstreet Boys had a cruise. They did like 90s pop stars cruise. Jonathan Colton did a cruise. So I think it's the camp aspect. They just turned it into a camp. But it does seem to be a thing for, I guess, musicians to say, like, meet like-minded people and come here. I think his framing of it is what got people.
Yeah. And then when you know what you know now, looking back, I'm like, was this just all a way to get a bunch of girls to a place for a couple days that you had access to?
That's a great question, because that quote from Jennifer Enoch, I think, is very prescient of, I paid for this, I better do what I can to be seen by them.
Yeah, she even said, like, some people had, I don't know what the age limit was, but she said parents were there with like their kids, trying to get their kids seen by them, like, oh, well, if I can get them to see how talented my kid is, then maybe this will be their like ticket to fame and stuff. So I think with these types of events, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of people that think this is like their one shot at type of stuff. And then it would be very easy for somebody to prey on that and be like, well, for $7,000, your kid can sing in front of Jared Leto.
Yeah. You never know, like, what the person buying that most expensive ticket, why they're buying it, well, then we're going to sit together and he's finally going to fall in love with me. And it's like, uh-oh. So from his perspective, it's like, what are you inviting into your bed, into your house?
That's what I was thinking with the sleepover too, is
they know where you live.
To create like a dangerous parasocial relationship or develop a stalker or something when you're like allowing them such personal access to your life?
Yeah, that's it. You're playing with fire for sure.
4 years after Camp Mars's inception, Leto and crew announced they were expanding globally. Instead of partying and bonding with the band in Malibu, 30 Seconds to Mars fans could now fly to Croatia, where an entire oceanside resort, dubbed Mars Island, awaited them. Tickets to the 3-day music festival that also included yoga and movie screenings started at $1,649, with various VIP packages costing over $7,000. Playing into their fandom being more like a cult, attendees were encouraged to wear all white and called Leto
the Prophet.
Leto also donned all white attire, causing Twitter to go wild in August of 2019. After the band posted a photo of Leto looking like Jesus with the caption,
"Yes, this is a cult. #Mars Island."
Well, you really bumped up that ticket price when you took it from Malibu to Croatia.
Yeah, he's like, we all have to travel. But you can see that the post is still up. The "Yes, this is a cult" we'll put the pictures in our Instagram so you can see them. And in the comments underneath it, there are, of course, some people that are like, pervert, cult, weirdo, whatever. And then there are people that went that are like, this was the most amazing time. Like someone said, for anyone saying this is scary, the scariest part about it was the heat. I had to sit out of the second set of pictures with Shannon Leto because I felt sick by that point and guilty for potentially ruining Jared Leto's creative vision by not feeling 100% into it.
What? That part is weird.
Right? I'm like, so then you're seeing, like, out loud on accident, a fan on her own accord has said, I was there. I almost made myself heat sick because I wanted to impress you. Yeah. Like, yikes.
And then I was worried that I would mess up your vision. So I excluded myself.
My goodness. My goodness.
Yeah. It's a dedication to go. I mean, it's beautiful, I will say. The island where they are is gorgeous. So if you're like, well, I kind of wanted a vacation to Croatia anyways, might as well tag along with this.
Meet some new friends.
Media outlets capitalized on the idea that the dreamy yet problematic star was in fact a cult leader, with articles titled,
"The Cult of Jared"
and
"Escaping the Cult of Mars."
Fans took to social media defending Leto, explaining that the cult moniker was all in good fun, and that Camp Mars and Mars Island were simply fun, if not expensive, ways for the fans to connect with each other and their favorite band.
That's one thing, is the echelon will come out to defend, so we're probably going to get down whatever. We're going to get negative comments from the echelon.
Oh, man. People do defend their, there's Swifties, the echelon, the Beehive.
Oh, yeah.
Rihanna's what? The Army?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has devoted fan bases that will defend you till they're blue in the face, no matter what comes out.
Mm-hmm. Regardless of the truth of the underlying allegations.
Rumors of Leto running a cult took on a more sinister air when allegations of past indiscretions surfaced again in 2022. That year, the then 50-year-old presented 19-year-old Olivia Rodrigo with a Grammy Award, sparking tweets from viewers of the televised ceremony making reference to Leto's predilection for younger women. Tweets read,
"Oh no, Olivia, get behind me. I'm going to protect you."
and
Olivia, run!
When the young recipient of Best Pop Vocal Album was seen on screen with the much older rocker. Another commenter, quoted in Newsweek, asked,
I wonder if she's read the stories of dozens of underage women accusing him of sexual assault. Eek.
Well, I think we need to take it off of Olivia somehow responsible for this. And like, why was he even presenting anything at the Grammys when the Grammys knows all these allegations? And then you're going to have him present something to a 19-year-old?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think that's sort of, I hope, where we're moving as a society, that we're all like, oh, we don't want Jared Leto presenting awards, especially not to what could potentially be a young woman that he wants to groom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But it's like weird to see him on stage, and it's like, I don't know.
The tweets seem to reference a string of anonymous allegations made in online forums against Leto nearly a decade earlier. In 2013, at least 2 victims came forward, alleging in now deleted threads on Voy.com and GossipRocks.com that Leto had been sexually inappropriate with them when they were teens. One victim claimed to have been 17 when Leto allegedly sexually assaulted her. She stated,
I think he got pleasure out of hurting me in retrospect, but I was too young and didn't know that then.
According to digital news outlet Your Tango. Another alleged victim claimed that she met Leto as
a naive, innocent girl
of just 17 when the Oscar winner was 34. The pair would meet up at hotels in New York for tryst, in which Leto was allegedly
very pushy into coercing me to do sexual acts with him, and he was quite rough and forceful.
34 and 17.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, after he hit about 30, all the women he dated were not 30.
Yeah. So significantly younger. In fact, some in high school and couldn't even get into bars if they wanted to.
Nope. Yeah, you can't really go anywhere, I guess, unless you're on the VIP list with Jared Leto, in which case he's like, don't check their ID.
No, they just come in the back. The victim claimed that she and Leto engaged in a sexual relationship from when she was 17 to 21. According to her, Leto would ask her during sexual acts to verbally tell him that she was 14 or 15. She concluded,
I'm 26 now, and I learned from it. I don't ever want to be treated like that by any man. It just will always hurt whenever I see Leto on TV or in a magazine. I just see the man who took advantage of my innocence and pressured me into things sexually that I'd never done and wasn't ready to do at that time.
The victims have never publicly identified themselves. The age of consent in New York, where the acts were alleged to have happened, is 17. Leto has never been charged with a crime related to these allegations, nor has he publicly addressed them.
One of the public addressing I did see was what I referred to at the beginning of the Lipstick Alley, which was a different website that I think linked back to these websites. And Jared Leto hired this law firm called Blavely and Singer to write a cease and desist saying, you have defamed our client by posting these. The thing of the matter is the website didn't post them. It's like people on the website posted them. So they were way off base legally. But then in the response letter, the attorney responding was like, well, one of the posts alleged that he had a big penis. So you have to prove damages. So show me where that's going to hurt his career, that somebody on Lipstick Alley said his dick was big. And the other allegations were linked to this other website. And it said, I have to read this quote because it was so fucking good. The responding attorney representing the website that Jared Leto claimed to defame him said, moreover, the mere fact that a denial comes in a demand letter from a lawyer at Blavely and Singer means that it has no probative value, considering the number of times your firm has sent demand letters claiming that Bill Cosby did not mistreat his fans by using drugs to facilitate sexual conquests. This man was like, well, you represent Bill Cosby, so I don't really give a fuck about what you have to say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was it was a stinging C&D.
Good for him. Yeah. It's the fact that the age of consent is 17, that's a problem in and of itself, because you got a 34-year-old and a 17-year-old. Okay, legally on the books, that's above board, but is it?
Yeah, that's what this woman who was just on NPR was talking about that she was 17 when her art teacher, who was a 47-year-old married man, and her began a relationship, and then they were together up through his death. And she said it's only been in the last, like, they got married, she stayed with him, like, her whole life she was with this guy, and she wrote one book about, like, it wasn't our love story so great, and she's like, I literally went through therapy and, like, had to process this, and has had to write a second book that was like, no, I was 17 and a 47-year-old man used me to blow his life up, and was like, well, she wanted me, you know, she's like, I realized I knew nothing. And like, just the concept of kind of like the disparate balance, especially like a teacher student, or in this case, a celebrity and a non-celebrity, a celebrity and a fan. You have to consider the whole of the entirety of the relationship. And part of that being he's 34 and a celebrity in town for his rock and roll tour, and you're 17, 18, like she said, up until, 21. And you're like, it's taken me 5 years to be like, oh, that was not okay. Like, we tell ourselves things like, oh, I wanted it. I was into it. I was so excited about it. But then in retrospect, you're just like, oh my God, no. And the onus should be on the older person, I think.
Absolutely. Yes. Though the allegations of sexual acts with teens have not been confirmed, Leto does appear to have a preference for much younger girlfriends. He has been romantically linked with models, actresses, and socialites over the past 2 decades, with an average age gap between Leto and his lovers of 17 years. None of the actor's paramours were over the age of 30. While Leto is over 50 years old, the average age of his girlfriends over the years hovers around 22.
I'll get older, but your lovers stay my age. He's part of the like cringy Leonardo DiCaprio, possibly Tobey Maguire. It just came out that Tobey Maguire might be, he's up in his 50s dating like a 20-year-old. Yeah, but then his wife goes, he was merely helping a friend to her car. They're not dating. I'm like, don't go hard for your ex-husband. Like,
oh, his wife is a famous jewelry designer.
Yes. Well, she was responding to stuff because people were like, why is your husband dating someone 3 years old, like 3 years younger or 3 years older than your daughter? Oh. And so then she was like, I don't normally respond to this, but Toby was just helping a friend. But there's just this like contingent of like guys. Like people are like, well, why is it cool when Leonardo DiCaprio does it? It's not. It's fucking cringy. I'm gross. Like, you're so embarrassing.
And the older he gets, the grosser it gets.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Like, I'm not saying all age gap relationships are wrong, because I think it's very context dependent. But when you see somebody who is a serial dater of literally put all of Jared Leto's girlfriends in a spreadsheet, put his age of birth, his year of birth, their year of birth, and do the math. And it was just like, oh, 17, 19, 21, 21, 22, 19, 19, 18, 7, 21, 22. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wonder, why is that? Is it for any guy? Is it that's just like physically the age you're attracted to? Is it because they are, still pretty young and you can have more control over the relationship? A bit of both. Like, they're, the younger someone is, the more they probably look up to you and idolize you, which I think most actors and musicians, and I mean, their whole job is trying to get people to like them and like what they do, and they like attention. So, you put all of it together and it can be a recipe for disaster.
No, I agree. And just like, having them on your arm and, you look like such a, you got some beautiful model as your girlfriend. I'm always just like, I hope that beautiful model is happy and not, like we saw Puff Daddy's, Sean Combs' girlfriend for all those years was like quietly enduring horrors. So you never know what's going on behind closed doors. And I think when you have an age gap with an experience gap, but then also a difference in power, that's when it could be kind of dangerous. And I think too, it just gives like, oh, yikes. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you're Cher. And then I'm all for it.
But I'm saying, in Cher, that her boyfriend is like a music producer. He's in his 30s. Yeah. He's got his own career. He's got his own, it's one thing if you have an age gap and you are two fully developed people. But when it's like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed young person who's just barely out of high school, maybe didn't even graduate high school, had to do a correspondence because she's working as a model across the country and doesn't have the type of things that you would have in your 30s that you can, if you are trying to burn it down with one of the greats, then go for it, man. Go for
But isn't it also interesting / disgusting how different the media portrays those two things? Like
Right.
Cher, they're saying like a woman of her age should not be getting railed this much. She's going to break a hip. But then until, the past couple years or so, men are praised for it,
Yes.
And now it's like you said, we're in an age more where it's called out more. It's not that it's not a problem still, but I do think people are calling it out more. But forever, it was like, oh, if you were an older guy with a young girl, then you had everything going for you. If you were an older woman with a younger guy, then, you're called every name in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think that there's, like, you see Dick Van Dyke and his wife are like 50 years apart. Like they met when he was in his 80s and she was in her 40s. But you're in your 40s. You know what you want. He was like kind of chilling, retired. Like she was doing his makeup. They just made each other laugh. They get along. It's one of those where it's not that it's a 50 years age gap that it's crazy. It's like, when did it start and where were you both at emotionally and career wise? And I think I'm glad it is getting called out more, like you said, because people talk about Pierce Brosnan and they'll be like, look at him. He's still with his wife despite her looking that way. I'm like, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
First of all, I had to be like, she's 60, but she is not rail thin. Like she's had 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
And I think she's elegant and beautiful and they seem very in love and happy. But you see where they're the same age even. And it's like Pierce Brosnan is with her. And it's like, yeah, bitch, they're in love.
I think it's what you said about when it started is critical because like an age gap, like you said, 40 and 80 is totally different than 15 and 30 or 17 and 34. I mean, you're still a kid. Your brain hasn't even fully fucking developed at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a red flag when it's like, well, I'll go in the bar and you wait for me out here because I own the bar and multiple others.
Leto's odd public behavior seems to fuel the cult rumors even more. He appeared at the 2019 Met Gala with a decapitated replica of his own head. Dressed in a red robe clad with dangling jewels, Leto sported his signature long hair and beard combination, resembling Jesus. His decapitated head was styled to match. All evening, celebrities took turns passing the Leto head around and snapping photos. The strange accessory certainly turned heads, but there was reportedly no cultish inspiration for the look. Rather, it was a nod to Gucci's fall/winter 2018 fashion show, in which models carried decapitated heads resembling themselves.
And Leto's a big Gucci head. If you like see him side by side with, it's like some guy from up in Gucci that does a lot of their design and stuff. He like over the years, he started looking like him, including like the long hair Jesus look. It's very interesting.
I think he's been a model for Gucci before too.
Oh yeah. He does like their fragrance ads and stuff like that. Yeah.
And the Met Gala is always known for over the top. Like that's where everybody pulls out the biggest stops of fashion.
Weird.
I remember this happening and whoever created it did a very good job. It looked like him and it, it certainly got photographed a lot.
Do we think he kissed it? Do we think he's just like carrying it around the Met Gala and then he gets in the back of the SUV and the driver's like, hey, I actually have to go check something inside. I'm going to leave you in here alone for a while. And then he's just in the back of the SUV and he's like looking at it. And then it turns to look at him and then he looks back. You can't help yourself. Those baby blues. Mouth opens.
Heather's got the corn skull if you're watching on YouTube.
I had to. What else looks like Jared Leto?
Yeah.
I think that
looks
maybe
just like you.
Fuck Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Fuck Mouth Moon. Now, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, I do think so. And my next question is, what was the mouth stitch?
It fully opened.
Was it fully open like Fuck Mouth Moon? Or was it, a pursed lip situation? Because I think it's like was open and anything could go in it, I think it probably did.
I bet you it's open and a flexible jaw situation. You'd have to be. Otherwise, what are they going to hand you? A static head of yourself? And you're like, I can't even do anything with this. And they're like, what do you mean do anything with it? And he's like, never mind. My lawyer will be sending you a cease and desist letter.
He's like, I will be having some repairs made to this post-haste after
some
the
guy's
gala.
Just like, now what do you want me to do with this? You want me to break its jaw? All right. I've done that before. Man, that's what he takes it to, like a back alley redneck is what in my vision.
Or And he puts it in bed with them later that night with somebody else. That thing,
the girl he sleeps with that
in
night,
his living room. It's on the mantle of his home, and it just stares at everybody.
Did someone steal it? I feel like someone stole it.
Well, in 2023, a giant white cat attended the Met Gala. When its big, furry head was removed, Leto was revealed to be inside. The intricate costume was intended to resemble fashion designer Karl Lagerfeld's beloved pet cat, Chopette. Singer Nick Jonas summed up the evening for Vogue, saying,
Jared Leto showed up as a furry.
While there was nothing culty about the look, Leto's willingness to go to extreme lengths for art and fashion have primed the public to believe some of the stranger allegations about him.
Yeah, it's one of those when you're like, that guy runs a cult, and you look at him, you probably go, yeah, that makes sense. Like, people don't look into it any further, and it's like, he doesn't run a cult. He's just exceedingly weird. He did. I Googled it. He lost the head.
He lost it.
He said somebody must have stolen it that night. But that night, he wasn't the only Chopette, because Doja Cat was more like Animorphs. Like, she had done, like, the face, like, but this giant cat, like, it's like my Lucifer head. It's like a mascot head. He had just this big ass mascot head on that, and people didn't know who it was.
The Met Gala is
its own thing.
To be a fly on the wall inside. Oh man, that's a bucket list. I don't know if I have it in me to dress like that, but I just want an inside look. I mean, I don't know, depending on the theme. Some of the outfits are gorgeous, but I just mainly want to see what goes on inside, and
fly on the wall.
All those billionaires sitting at one table dressed in their finest.
Passing around costumes. The Jared Leto head, just passing it around under the table.
Oh, yeah, it's going under the table. Well, yeah, like you mentioned, they're also on tour right now. So
yes, that's currently there's no Camp Mars I've seen. If you go to their website, the Camp Mars website, the page for Camp Mars is like down. A 404 error. It's down, but they forward you over to their tour. So they're pushing the tour. They're coming to Dos Equis Pavilion here in Dallas.
And I've made some notes of
you got a list for
the
us?
Ticket prices.
Okay.
Have you looked at the ticket prices?
I have not looked at the ticket prices. I'm aware of what Camp Mars prices are.
Okay. I'm going to ask you what you think this goes for.
Okay.
And I'll have you know that on the Dos Equis ticket website, the first two packages, according to them, are, quote, out of stock. So, are they?
Are they sold out?
Did you offer 5 tickets? Or did nobody buy them, so you just put out of stock to save your own ego? I don't know, because I can't imagine enough people buying these to where it would be sold out, but maybe I'm sleeping on how dedicated the echelon is.
Maybe.
Okay, so none of these include the ticket price, by the way. So you still have to buy a ticket to get in, and then these are additional packages.
Okay. And I can use a reference. I recently, 3 or 4 years ago, I bought a ticket to see the Backstreet Boys, and then I bought a VIP package that got me a photo with the band.
Okay.
So
how much did you pay for that?
I think the ticket was like $100-something each. It wasn't like thousands of dollars, like maybe like $120 each for the ticket. And I think I just bought the package for myself. Paris was like, I'm okay. I was like, do you want to meet the Backstreet Boys? It's like, no.
I'm fine, babe. I'll be in the car.
I'm good. And I think the package on top was like $300.
Okay.
And you got a VIP, I'm using finger quotes here. I got a fanny pack. Like a clear fanny pack bag thing, and then a hat that says "Keep the Backstreet Pride Alive."
You wearing that?
Huge. It's a trucker hat, nonetheless. A huge bumper sticker, bigger than any bumper. It's enormous. That was like "Keep the Backstreet Pride Alive." It's a lot. It was a lot, and I was like, I'm okay. It's one of those where you're like,
picture.
I did. I took a picture with them. But it's you're right. It is kind of like a weird. You just stand in line, and then they're like, "Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Okay." Thanks. And then they just like move you along, which is, there was a lot of people lined up to do that. But that's 5 guys. They had to split my $300 and something on top of that.
Well, the first one is called the Avalanche package.
Okay.
It's out of stock, so don't get your hopes up.
Oh, well, never mind.
This includes early entry to the show, guaranteed on-stage access for the last song that 30 Seconds to Mars performs. You get to also watch the show from the side of the stage.
You have to stand up if he sees you sitting.
True. But also, how many ticket spots are really open? Because you can't have like 2,000 people on stage. So it's got to be a limited amount. But that part, I'm not
50?
sure.
I don't know. 25? I'm trying to think of how many people you could get on the side of a stage at like Dos Equis. Seems like a lot of wrangling.
It's a big stage. You get to have a meet and greet. You get a photo. You get a pre-signed tour posto. Only signed by Jared and Shannon.
Jared and Shannon Posto. I'm in.
The rest of the band don't get to sign it. Exclusive merch with a laminate. Pre-doors tour merch. So you get
that was nice.
Early access to merch before the doors are open, which I would say that is nice. That is a nice perk.
It was a good benefit. Yeah, I got that with the Backstreet Boys ticket.
On-site VIP concierge. There's no description of what this includes.
They just tell you where to go.
Yeah, that's when you put such broad things. That's again an issue I have with stuff like this. It's like, well, one person would read that and be like, oh my gosh, so I'm going to have somebody at my beck and call. Like if I need a drink, they're going to go get it. And then you get there and they're like, no, they basically just tell you like where the bathroom is and where to sit and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, okay.
They tell you where to line up. Yeah. No, but you're right. There's like it was this whole third party company that did it, much like you said with the Camp Mars vacation.
Alice in Wonderlands or whatever.
With the Backstreet Boys, it was like that. It was like VIP, whatever. And they clearly do it for multiple artists.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So lastly, you get a stamp in the Echelon passport. What is that, you might ask? Well,
what's the Echelon passport?
That does not come with this package, so you better already have it. But you can
BYOEP.
You can order it from the band's website for $10.
Oh, I'm gonna get one.
It's a 26-page booklet that kind of looks like a passport, and you receive a custom dated stamp at each Mars event. However, there's an asterisk, and at the bottom of the page, it says not guaranteed at every show. So it's a crapshoot if you're going to get your stamp or not after having purchased it. And you can personalize your passport with your own pic inside on the front cover.
Love it.
So what Price is Right it? What would you pay for all of that?
Not including a ticket.
It is not, and the tickets. Lawn tickets are $41.30. The pit, $155.50.
For the pit?
Yeah, I was surprised. I guess
he probably maybe he crowd searched or something.
Close to the stage, in any rows from like front back to like row in. Depending if it's a resell or sold by the venue, it was anywhere from like $150 to $400.
400?
Yeah,
interesting.
A lot of people reselling them for more than they went for.
Interesting. So we'll check what day are they coming. We'll check back the day before and see.
It's in August. That's why we were like, hell no. August 27th, I think. It's going to be fucking miserable. This is an outside venue. The lawn is like straight up in the sun.
It really is. Not only is the lawn in the sun, but I noticed at Alanis Morissette recently, the sun, the stage faces west. So until about 9:30, the sun is directly in the face of the people performing.
Whoever built it didn't think ahead.
We were walking up and I told my friend Susie, who flew in with our other friends, she goes, where's the sun going to be? I go, surely it's not going to be directly in the sunlight. That would be dumb. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Welcome to Texas. I'm so sorry. My guess for the price would be on top of the ticket price, $499.
Not including the ticket.
Not including the ticket, $499.
Okay. What if I said it was $849?
Oh, I wouldn't pay it, but some people might.
It's out of stock.
So good luck.
The next least expensive is the Seasons package, also out of stock, according to the website.
Good luck.
You get everything you just got, except you don't get to be on stage during that last song.
Oh, that takes the value down.
Well, how much do you think? How much does it take it down? You think that whole package is $299?
Yeah.
Here's where things get crazy, Heather. That package is $6.99. I did the math. That means they're only evaluating getting on stage at $150.
So it's only $150 more to get on stage.
Which I would think would be probably the most exciting part.
I would think that would be the most expensive.
Yeah, I was shocked too. Now, the next 2 packages are available. Okay. You've got Get Up Kid. Does that mean don't sit down? Get your
That's probably. And it's probably the girl he's dating. He's yelling at her. I'm sorry.
So for this one, you get everything except no on stage and no watch from the side.
Okay, so you don't get to go on stage. Oh. $199.
$3.99. Yeah. And
so
then,
it goes 8, 6, and 3.
Yeah.
So it's really $900, $700, $400.
Yeah, they try and get you with the 99.
The 99.
We all fucking know it's $1 less than $400. And then just early entry is you don't get on stage, watch from stage. You don't get the meet and greet or the photo, but you get the poster, the exclusive merch with the laminate, pre-doors tour merch, and a stamp on your passport. That on top of a ticket, what would you pay?
I would probably say, because you do get early entry, and that's what I do need to factor that in, because people that are pit people are like, I will wait outside for 12 hours, and I get it. And like, if you're a pit person, so if you also get early entry, you have to. So I would say that's probably like $299.
That one's only $149.
$149. Okay,
so that's the only one where I'm like, I can see
reasonable.
That being like worth it. I don't know if I'm gonna pay $3.99 extra if I don't get on stage or to watch from the side, because again, that means they're valuing getting on stage at $150, and they're valuing getting to watch from the side at $300.
If they had that available now, I would buy it to get on stage and send you all a photo of myself on it. That's how much how dedicated I am to the show.
So
I would wear a second T-shirt underneath that says Jared Leto likes him young, New York Post 2005, and just lift it up and get thrown out, and you guys would all see.
Oh man, you're like
local woman ripped apart by the echelon.
What's the lead singer's name of Aria?
Michael Stipe.
When was it the MTV Music Awards, or was it during the Grammys, when every time he would win something, he would take off a T-shirt and he had another T-shirt underneath that said, like, I don't know, some cause he was into.
No, but I love that. That's going to be you. I'm going to Michael Stipe it. I'm going to go to the 30 Seconds to Mars, and I'm going to Michael Stipe so hard.
Yeah. Well, you're only going to be able to do the Get Up Kid.
I'm not trying to get up.
So...
Wait. Get Up Kid, you don't even get up on the stage?
No,
I'm out.
No, you don't get it. You get everything except no on stage and no watch from the side. So you get early entry, the photo, the tour poster, exclusive merch, pre-doors for merch. I guess you still have an on-site VIP concierge, which now definitely means it's just somebody standing next to a flag that tells you where to go.
Just pointing that way.
And a stamp in your passport. Maybe not.
Not guaranteed. We can't guarantee. We have to make an individual stamp for every show. What do we do with them afterwards? We throw them out. No, we have a big stack of stamps. We don't know what to do with them.
It is just so much. Again, like with the sleepovers and the camps and the islands, it's just so much. And maybe other artists do this and I'm not aware of it because I don't buy these types of packages, but it seems like they're doing too much. I think it takes the value of them down a bit when you make yourself so accessible with like also weird things.
Yeah, and that's the question is like, who are you trying to be? Are you trying to commodify every aspect of your show? It's insofar as like, and sell a pass to get on stage and sell a pass to do this and sell, which is fine and you make money. Or is it, I'm here to make the art I make. Everybody's welcome to come. I'm excited. And I think what gives me the ick about him and possibly gets people to call him out for it is that he is so loudly like, I'm an artiste. I am an artiste. But then it's okay, but then you're doing all these things that you're saying are like cheesy or whatever, like, oh, it's all just a money grubbing industry. It's like, well, either shut up about it or like, I think that's where I had to ask ChatGPT. I was like, why does Jared Leto give me the ick? I can't explain it. I don't know what is it about him? And it's like, I think the professed nature of something and then the reality being different. And it sort of makes your stomach kind of go, that feels weird to me. That feels off to me. It's just him making these declarations of like, I'm such a method actor and I'm so serious about my art that I have to send Margot Robbie a rat. Meanwhile, you can also buy a ticket to my summer camp. And it's like, okay, well, just be the summer camp guy or just be the rat guy. But like, why are we trying to be both?
Yeah, I think because one is in his mind film and one is music, maybe. The thing that gives me the ick about him is that he likes to F 17-year-olds.
Yeah, allegedly.
When he's 50. So that does it for me. But the echelon is strong. And I don't know. We'll have August 27th. We'll have to drive by Dos Equis and see.
Bury me.
What it looks like. Yeah,
Get me
just
on
go
stage.
hang out. We'll tailgate in the parking lot.
We're going to go tailgate 36 March.
You can wear your t-shirt there.
Yes, but we're only going to go to the parking lot and only after dark because it's hot as shit.
Yeah. No, I'm not going out there before 10 o'clock.
No, it's going to be 850
we'll catch everybody
degrees.
As they're leaving.
Yes. It's like all those religious people when we came out of the Justin Bieber concert and they're like, you're going to go to hell. You need to serve Jesus. I'm like, that's what the guy inside just told me.
Except we're like, hey, kiddo, go. He's going to try and get your number.
Run.
Get out of here. Run,
little kid. Go back to summer camp. Not that one, though.
Well, former teen heartthrobs Andrew Keegan and Jared Leto may not have started legitimate cults, but the vulnerability and accessibility they have afforded their fans has created a tight-knit base that many would liken to members of a cult. After her weekend at Camp Mars, journalist Jennifer Enoch concluded that she did not feel like she
escaped a cult.
Rather, her main takeaway was that fans like to attend because it makes them feel like they are part of an exclusive gathering and are able to connect with Leto and others in a way most can't, despite this connection coming at a steep price. So what do we think?
I wonder if, and I would love for anyone to weigh in, the use of the term cult in this fashion sort of dulls things and or makes it and making it into a joke, a thing that he says like, yeah, we're a cult. Hashtag you wouldn't get it. Hashtag yeah, we're a cult. If in the same way that our friends at Spark said using the term stalk and stalking as a kind of a joke, like, oh my God, I cyber stalked him when I got home and like I found all the places he used. And it's like, well, maybe don't use that word because cyber stalking is like a real thing. In a similar fashion, does it do more harm than good to people who nowadays are so easily swept up into what we would consider a cult? Teal Swan, Bentino Mansaro, the Twin Flames people, the Profundity Yours, Love Is One. I could go on. When we've dulled the sharpness of the term cult of like, oh, well, it's not Jonestown. And I'm not saying Jared Leto is to the extent of Teal Swan and all those people. Obviously not. He's vastly different than the Twin Flames guy, although they clearly go to the same barber. So, but that's my question is like and I'm glad that we're kind of taking a critical look at this and going, because if you would ask me like, did Jared Leto have a cult going on? Without looking into it, I go, I don't know, something. Yeah, he's doing something. I don't know what it is. It's like a weird thing. But for someone like Andrew Keegan, who I think is very different than Jared Leto, and we should separate the two. Andrew Keegan did nothing wrong. This guy was just like not media trained and was trying to run like a spiritual center. He at no point, in fact, he should have charged people a couple bucks to hang out with him. The place might still be open.
Yeah.
So that's my concern is that Jared Leto taking this serious thing that just, ask Dr. Yanya Lalick or whatever, like this, it really does destroy people's lives. All the people we've talked about in all those episodes I just named, like, joking around about it. Like, I'm not going to be like, drink the Kool-Aid, Jonestown, LOL. I don't make those jokes because I fucking watch the footage and listen to it, the audio. It's horrible. Yeah. Don't joke about Jonestown. It's fucking sad. So it's in the same way of being like Jared Leto being like, yes, we're a cult. I'm like, you're kind of a nasty asshole anyway, now that I've learned about all of the shit you've allegedly done, and getting Bill Cosby's lawyer to send a cease and desist on your behalf. Yikes. But like, if we're talking strictly about the cult stuff, I am concerned about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of when you normalize words that once were problematic or are the definition of it is something problematic, and you make it like this joke or this mainstream thing, like, yeah, like, oh, are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Like, that shouldn't be part of our vernacular, because that was a real thing that happened and 900 people died, including a ton of kids. So like that kind of stuff, it's not funny. Like the Branch Davidians, that's not funny either. And that was a cult. So to normalize and kind of like try and appropriate something that has no business being appropriated, like come up with a different term for that, because you're not really a cult. But when you say you are and you make it like jokey, I think that's also an easy way for a potential predator to weasel their way in, is because you're like, obviously it's just a joke. Like, this is all a joke. And so if you're like, oh, well, I'm 18, but like, this is all, you just don't get it. It's a joke. And then you show up at Croatia and you're like, oh, you want me to come back to your tent? Okay.
I thought you said you lost this head after the Met Gala, and now here it is in your tent. You brought it all the way to Croatia? What is this, Jared Leto, you pervert? No, but I mean, I think you're right, though, that it does leave what is already a person that people are willing to do anything for, a rock star, and then to take that and connect it with the concept of participants who are willing to do anything no matter what and not ask questions. You're right. That's a recipe for, we haven't seen anything happen at these Camp Marses. I don't know if they're going to still go on. But every corner of the internet is littered with people going, he hit on me when I was insert high school number here. And maybe they're all liars. Maybe they're all making it all up and they're all liars. Or maybe he's got a pattern and practice of doing this that we're just not all aware of. I don't know. He's cease and desist. He sent the C&D to Lipstick Alley and did not press the issue because, as the responding attorney said, I'd love to get an affidavit from Mr. Leto talking about all this stuff. Please have him send it to me. So it's like, I think he's trying to, as much as possible, be extremely weird in his career, be very loud in his fashion, in his art, everything he does, that to the point that it distracts away from what I think are persistent, long-standing allegations, not just from a single source a long time ago, and it wasn't a thing. It's just like we all don't have the evidence of it. So for some of us, myself included, I'm like, there's something weird about this guy, and I don't like it. It feels kind of gross, and I don't know why. And then an episode like this makes me go, that's why?
I've never thought his outlandishness was to distract from his transgressions, but that's an interesting point. I've always just thought that was kind of who he is, and he uses it almost as a way to attract people. Like, I think that I think a lot of people are into him because of that kind of stuff, you know, because of the bad boy rocker, like long hair, just, you know, heavy eyeliner, fake heads, robes,
everything,
all of it. I think a lot of people are into that, but I think he also is just kind of a weird dude that, you know, he's always kind of been a weird dude, but weird dudes can be bad dudes too. You know, weird dudes can also be good dudes, but he seems to have a running history of butting up against things that make me question how above board everything is. And if it still continue, like, you know, I mean, he's 50. He's not with a 50-year-old.
No, I mean, I don't know who he's currently dating, but I think the last person was like 22, 24, whatever. Again, it's just sort of still staying in that lower 20s age range. And yeah, I mean, I think all the weird stuff, I'm not saying it definitely is to distract from it. I think it does serve to do that. The thing that I think gives me the whole, like, I was like, why don't I like it? And it seems like a lack of authenticity, like kind of more like, I'm doing this, like he said, I'm doing it just to do it, not to talk about it. And just like the way he says stuff in interviews. There's an interview with him and somebody on Reddit titled it, Matthew McConaughey hates Jared Leto and I can prove it with this video. And it was them doing press for Dallas Buyers Club. And he was just talking and talking and talking. And you just see Matthew McConaughey's kind of like, kind of just looking at him like, and like, maybe it was a long day, but, or maybe Matthew McConaughey's like, this guy is pretentious as fuck. And I think that's what I don't like, is the pretentiousness of, you set the whole Morbius set back days and days because you had to wear crutches because your character wore crutches. So you refused to like walk to set. So it would take like a really long time. And there are like people who like want to go home to their fucking kids and like, this is their job and they're having to stay late because you're like so self-indulgent. Like, be a fucking professional, man. So stuff like that, it kind of gets on my nerves. I'm like, there are plenty of best actors, best Oscar winners out there that don't send anal beads to their co-stars.
No.
So maybe think about that.
That's gross. I don't have a problem with method acting because I think that there's a lot of actors that's what they do and it works out really well for them. And I get like getting into that character. But what I will say is I just Googled who is Jared Leto currently dating. And I didn't realize he also has dated Ashley Olsen, Lindsay Lohan,
I have a
Paris
spreadsheet,
Hilton, and Katy Perry.
Yeah, I made a whole spreadsheet because I was trying to keep track of who he dated and how old they were when each time, because the website I found was just sort of a long list. And I was like, I have to find the dates that they dated. It's called Jared Leto Math.
He was dating a Russian model, Valerie Kaufman. But they broke up in September of 2022, and he currently appears to be romancing model. I think she goes by Beauty, but yeah, Tet Thin.
And then he also, after her, he dated Daria Korchina, allegedly. So when he was 51, his girlfriend was 25. When he was 15, she was 26. When he was 44, she was 21. 46, she was 23. When he was 40, she was 22. 37, 24, 34, 19, 34, 19, 33, 20. You know what I mean? You sort of see the pattern and practice. So,
well, he also dated Salil Moonfry. So there's that too. Hunky. Well, so in conclusion, I don't think either of them are running a cult, but I think one of them likes to use their celebrity status to gain things more than the other. But I also think a lot of times with men that are getting older as celebrities like that keep dating younger women because they don't want to come to terms with the fact that they're aging. And they feel like if they keep dating younger women that they can kind of trick their brains and body into thinking that they're still that age, like keeps
your
them
knees
young.
are still going bad, dude.
Or that other people won't view you as like 50 because you're with a 22-year-old. And it's like, that's not how age works. You still stay that same age. You don't become the person's age that you're dating.
Maybe that's how Leonardo DiCaprio's like, I can do it. I can take their youth. And you're like, no, Leo, no. Stop. Well, I'll wrap it up with, I think Jared Leto is right. He says all the time, you wouldn't understand. Hashtag you wouldn't understand. And maybe I just don't. I just don't get it.
I wish that it was still as simple as his days on My So-Called Life as Jordan Catalano before all of this. That's how I like to think of him. And honestly, that's how I do think of him, because that's about the last time that I really paid a lot of attention to him.
I just think of him as a beautiful young boy with saran wrap stretched across his chest and a calla lily in his hand.
I'll never get over those pictures. I can't believe those exist and that you found them. So thank you so much.
Here's what I'll do. I can draw a version. I'll draw them because we can't use the pictures because he'll sue us. He'll cease and desist us. But maybe if I do a sketch of it, of what my interpretation.
I think if they're on the internet, where did you find them?
This person's blog. I'm not trying to blow him up.
So he could find that person's blog and send a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no publicity is bad publicity.
Come at us, Jordan Catalano.
This episode of Sinisterhood is made possible with the help of our amazing patrons.
If you're interested in supporting the show, consider joining our Patreon. You'll get access to ad-free regular episodes, weekly bonus content, you're able to vote on episode topics, join our monthly live streams, and more.
Keep it creepy.
Mwahaha.